Good morning. My name is Simon Miller, filling in today for Harley Schlanger for your daily video update. Today is Friday, August 23rd, 2024, and there's a huge number of developments that we need to discuss. As the growing threat of nuclear war looms closer and closer on the horizon, it becomes ever more important that we remain clear-headed and confident in our vision for the future, because the new paradigm is bucking back consistently against escalation after escalation. For every escalation in the Kursk direction against Russia, you have South Africa blocking the shipment of 50,000 artillery shells to Poland for the use against Belarus. So you have South Africa, who started the ICJ case against Israel for genocide, is working closely alongside Russia and China and has made it clear that they will not participate in escalations against Russia. They buck back against the production and the shipment of artillery shells intended to be used to kill Russians. You also have the Swiss People's Party, the largest party in Switzerland, who have denounced the federal government of Switzerland for violating Swiss neutrality by joining the EU military pact PESCO. And so what you have is a key European ally who has a consistent track record of neutrality back since World War II, who refuses to lay down and just join along with the EU, although the threat remains. Their federal government has tried to make them complicit in EU war policy, and the largest party, the People's Party, refuses to back down. So as the situation in Kursk develops, as you have another attack on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, as you have more attacks near the Kursk nuclear power plant, as you have Putin announcing that there are further escalations in store in the region from the West, you have a consistent bucking back from certain countries that are participating in a new process, the new paradigm of international cooperation. You have South Africa, you have Switzerland, you have other EU allies, we have Hungary, we have others. And it's not just in the direction of Russia. For every escalation against China, there's a response from the new paradigm. Take, for instance, the AUKUS deal, which has been in the works for a long time now and has continued to develop about these nuclear submarines between the UK, the US, and Australia. And France was left out of that deal, and they felt pretty sore about that for a long time. But you have many Australians, former statesmen, such as the former Prime Ministers Paul Keating and Malcolm Turnbull, such as the former Foreign Minister Gareth Evans. You have academics, such as the head of the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, which has said that this deal strips Australia of sovereignty, that China is not the main threat to Australia, that they should not go along with US war policy with regards to China. And for, again, every single escalation against China, you have Li Qiang, China's premier, who visited Moscow and signed dozens of deals. You have deals about trade. You have deals about infrastructure. You have deals about, for instance, the landmark nuclear research agreement between two head nuclear research apparatuses within China and Russia. So again, for every escalation you see, there was a response, but not only a response, an outflanking of the escalation itself by the new paradigm. Because the new paradigm cannot be beaten. It's unavoidable. It's in the nature of reality that humans tend to grow. Humans tend to develop. When you have a global empire threatening to halt all development in favor of war to prevent their collapsing colonial system, it will inevitably be met with the Treaty of Westphalia. It will inevitably be met with scientific advancement. It will inevitably be met with the new paradigm. That's why Helga's 10 principles of a new international security and development architecture exist. That's why China's 5 principles of peaceful coexistence exist. That's why groups like the International Peace Coalition, which just today will have their 64th consecutive meeting, have hundreds of peace activists, former statesmen, former intelligence officials getting together to say the insanity must stop. So, if we are to remain clear-sighted, if we are to remain confident in our vision for the future, if we are to remain optimistic on the basis that there is a consistent response and outflanking from the new paradigm against the dying hegemonic Anglo-American World Empire, then you, yes, you personally, should join the International Peace Coalition today at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You should support the independent campaigns of Jose Vega and Diane Sayre. Jose Vega in the Bronx, Diane Sayre for Senate in the whole of New York. Because independent candidates here in the United States are being forced out. It is rumored, and actually extremely likely, that today, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the preeminent independent campaign in the 2024 U.S. presidential elections, will drop out of the race, likely to accept a cabinet position under Donald Trump. Whether you support Donald Trump over Joe Biden is a question of political pragmatism. But I don't deal in pragmatism. What I care about is that Donald Trump is a Zionist. He's allowed the swamp monsters in. And in fact, RFK has said as much in the past. He's publicly said that Trump is working with the very same swamp monsters that he said he was going to drain. So you have the largest independent campaign in the United States dropping out. That looks like a reason to fret. That looks like a reason to be worried about the state of the U.S.'s role in the new paradigm. But it's not. Because what you still have, and what shows them to be really, truly independent, not playing any political games, is Diane Sayre and Jose Vega, who continue to staunchly fight against oligarchy, continue to uphold the new paradigm, and they aren't backing down. They aren't dropping out. The only candidate against Richie Torres, the Zionist champion of AIPAC, who's received millions and millions of dollars of Israeli blood money, the only opponent is Jose Vega. The only opponent of legitimate worth to Gillibrand in New York is Diane Sayre. So as you have this line of development where consistently every escalation of the dying Anglo-American World Empire is outflanked by the new paradigm, you have in lockstep in the United States a new paradigm arising. You have the International Peace Coalition, which has gathered hundreds in the United States to meet with hundreds from other countries to say enough is enough. And at the helm of the new paradigm here in the United States are Diane Sayre and Jose Vega, who are fighting really, truly independent battles against the United States entrenched oligarchy. So, I understand that as you open the news and scroll through every day, even if you're reading EIR.news, which you should be reading for the most accurate analysis, it's easy to get depressed. It's easy to become jaded and to say, well, there's nothing I can do. But there is something you can do. You can support Diane Sayre and Jose Vega. You can read the EIR and support the EIR financially. You can join the International Peace Coalition. You can do a whole lot more than you originally thought you could. So join with us. Join with the new paradigm and outflank evil. Thank you.
The big question, what can we do about it? If we have the power to influence the course of history as individuals, then each of us has a corresponding moral responsibility to muster from within ourselves those capacities which enable us to do our part in shaping the course of civilization. Now, under that rubric, I say, what kind of news is newsworthy? The only news that's worth having is news which performs those functions, which enables government, which enables you as an individual and so forth, better to understand what is happening to this planet, to understand what the developments are that are shaping the course of history, and finally to indicate to you the facts which you need to look at so that you can judge what it is that you might be able to do which can contribute to bringing about a solution, an escape from the collapse of civilization. This is no pipe dream, this is no fantasy, this is real.